I'm thinking about using it. And okay, good. Yep, Melissa single. Yep. Okay, Kristen hasn't used it. Don't use. Okay, Courtney. Gotcha. Okay, never used it. Okay, Lori's using it. Regular single event for Harsha. Okay, Dixie not wanting set up for students. Okay, to try to set it up for Angie. Okay, good. Never used it. Okay. This helps me a lot. Okay. Regular, good. Okay. For those who don't currently use it, do you want to, or are you kind of evaluating whether you want to? Hey, I'm kind of interested. I need to figure out a way to set up a scheduling tool to work with students or work with other folks. Just kind of looking at what would be the goals for your use. Hey, Chris.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking for me, Neil, that I just need to make it a little easier to schedule meetings.
Okay. Hey, Kristen. Good. Okay. Thanks, Chris. Kristen, depends on how well this goes today. So, by the way, hopefully this is not a caveat, but if you do decide to get a Calendly account, and the most common one used at the college is just a single free account, I am happy to help you work through that, set it up, identify what options you have, set up some of they're using the term workflows now. That you don't necessarily have to use a lot of those. Most of those are used in how do we communicate with the person who signed up for the appointment. But yeah, I'll be happy to work with anybody on that. I've done that a variety of times in the past. So hopefully that's more helpful than a warning in that respect. So, yep. So there are some differences. I think most of the people that are single event users here, probably most folks, particularly faculty, have individual free accounts. And what that means is that that user has access to Calendly for one event type. So they can set up, oh, hey, I want to have 30-minute appointments with my students. Okay, or I want to have 45-minute appointments with students, and I want them to be able to schedule anytime within this window or these days. We can be very open with that. We can be very restrictive with that. If you are thinking about, ooh, hey, I'd like to use this for multiple events. I want to have a 30-minute appointment, and I want to have an hour-long appointment, and I want to be able to set up a meeting or events with students so that we can have multiple students at a time. That's going to require a paid subscription, which certainly is a possibility. We like people who have those to use them that way. So, but the basics are pretty much the same. You know, you basically create an account, and then you create events within your Calendly account, and you set up the parameters. So I'm going to. Does anybody have any questions at this point? I know some people are going, oh, I just want to learn more about this. Other people may have some questions.
Neil, does it coordinate with our Outlook calendar? So
It
when
does.
students make, okay, good.
Yep.
That's the main thing I don't want to miss.
Yep, that's one of the big reasons we have this, is because it does work with Outlook.
Good.
So it will basically set up, when the plugin is reading correctly, the integration is done correctly. And I have no worries. This has been working very well for the last couple of years. And even when it didn't work so well, Matt Stockfeld in EdTech, he got things taken care of on the back end, so it did work well. We'll just reach out to him if we do have issues. But it's been working pretty well and been very easy to set up. So Calendly, with that integration, it will look at your Outlook calendar, and it will identify what times are open and available for appointments based on the rules that you set, and when you show free time on your Outlook calendar. So if you have appointments on your Outlook calendar, and it's showing that you're busy from 1 to 3 on Mondays, then Calendly is going to read that and not allow any appointments in that 1 to 3 window. We can also set up some parameters that say, hey, give me a buffer. Make sure I'm buffered 5 minutes, 15 minutes before and or after something. So if you want to make sure, oh, hey, I have class and I'm in lecture until 2:50 or lab until 2:50, I'm not going to be able to meet with somebody until 3 or 3:15. We can create that kind of buffer. And so Calendly will read that and apply that automatically, set up based on the rules. So we can automate a lot of considerations with it by basically telling us we tell it what we want. But yes, integrating with Outlook is a big part of this. And so when somebody makes an appointment with you, it gets put onto your Outlook calendar. We set up the rules for communications to the student or the person who makes the appointment with you, because maybe it's not always students, maybe it's somebody else. We can have a variety of meeting types, multiple integrations. Probably for advising right now are the common 3 that we use would be on campus in our office as a selection. Another option would be phone or a video conference meeting. And for the most part, we use Teams. Zoom is also in there, but as a Teams institution, our culture has kind of accepted that, and that's what we're doing. And that seems to work well with new students who don't have any network accounts or anything. Seems to be relatively symbiotic, if I can use that term. I see Seth up there in front. I'm like, oh, I don't want to mess up using that terminology. So that's, I'm going to share my screen and just kind of give you
one real quick question.
Oh yeah.
Harsha was asking if you tried emailing additional resources after the person has scheduled an appointment.
Yes.
Okay.
It can be done, and that is part of hey, what kind of response do you want to set up to the person who made the appointment? Now, what I am not going to make a claim for is that the system will evaluate any answers that the person put in and then send them specific resources based on that response. That's good. That's a whole nother level of branching and logic that I don't know that fits into workflows. That goes way beyond the basic, hey, just let's give a particular response to somebody who makes sets an appointment with us. Okay, let's see. Looking for the window I want to share here. There we go. All right, so I have brought up the Calendly and basically my account page. Do we have, is that visible? Can anybody affirm that?
Yes.
Okay, so we've got my Calendly. I've got event types, scheduled events, workflows, routing. As you can see, I've got a bunch of different events because I create them, I reuse them, I clone them. Cloning, just we're copying and using another, modifying a little bit, and then using it in a different way, or even temporarily. So in here, we've got our event types. I can look at scheduled events for the future. This is a tool I use for assessment. I can look at the future. I can look in the past for past meetings. So if I'm looking, oh, I know that a student came in, I can search, I can export, I can total, I can do all kinds of stuff with that. I can search by date range. So if you're actually looking, oh, hey, how do I quantify this? Or, how do I identify or prove to somebody that I've had 3 appointments with this student, but they haven't shown up? Those are some things that we can do here. Workflows is more generic. I have email invitees, email reminders that I've gone in and set up, not necessarily through the workflows tool here, but they're set up as workflows within editing an event. And so we can set parameters, what kind of restrictions, when do we want these communications to go out? We can customize them. And then I haven't really used much of the routing tool. It is relatively new. So if you have any questions about that, I'm going to have to do a little more research on that. I have not received any inquiries about that so far. But it looks like we have a little logic to set up questions, invitees to booking page, and more. So also to realize Calendly is used in a variety of different organizations. While we're using it in higher ed, sales tends to be a pretty popular place for these type of tools to be used. So a lot of their functions, the way they're designed, fit around sales personnel. So just know that going in. So if we go to event types, this is where we can kind of define what we want to do. And so if I want to create a new event type, I can just create a new event type and I get to define it. Is it a one-on-one? Hey, I'm hosting, I've just got one person. A group, I can host, I can invite several people. I use this function for math placement testing. When I want people to sign up, it's basically a group event. For example, I cap it at 12 and people can sign up until those 12 seats are taken. Collective, more than one host. We don't do this a whole lot here, but when working in teams, that certainly is a consideration. And then round robin, rotating host with one. Sometimes this is done, I know it's done a little bit in higher ed, where somebody may be looking to get a hold of an admissions representative or recruiter, but they're not necessarily trying to get somebody specific. And their systems are, I don't think we do this here, but their systems are set up to, hey, let's get this person to make an appointment with the first available person or the first person in the queue. So we're communicating that we are available. That's more of a generic consideration. Then there are other ways to meet. I haven't played with these. So let's I'm just going to set up a one-to-one meeting. And this is going to be most common with this group, particularly if you are meeting just with individuals such as students, office hours. Hey, make an appointment, come see me. So let's just call this student meeting, for example, and add location. We've got all these different options. We've got in-person, phone call, Google Meet. I don't know how many people use that, but Zoom is up here, Teams, WebEx, GoToMeeting. So they've integrated a lot of these different technologies for folks to be able to use. Let's go with listing in-person meeting. Let's just say my office in general. Okay, and we update. Okay. All right, I want to add another location. Okay, I want to have students be able to call me, but I want to call them. So I just update it, add that. I want to add another one. Let's go with a Teams meeting, as I mentioned before. Whoops. And yeah, so those are 3 of them. Description. Let's discuss how you are progressing in class. And how to be successful. Okay, whatever your message is. Okay. Then your event link is basically pre-created. You can change this here. You can add to it. There are some naming conventions, but we can just leave it at student meeting. And right now it's violet. Say I want it to be electric lime. I can change that. Some people will choose colors so they can see, oh, hey, I know what that meeting is just glancing at it, that kind of meeting based on the color. Other folks, colors make no difference. So next part, we've defined what event it is. Now we have to define, and this is where it gets into a lot of detail. This is probably where things take the most amount of time when setting up an event. When can people book this event? So it says 30-minute, 60-minute rolling calendar days. When we put in a number here for calendar days into the future, it's basically saying, hey, Calendly will look into the future this number of days for open times to represent as available. And so when we set this up as 60, it will look 60 days in the future. If we set it up at 47, it'll look 47 days into the future on the calendar. Okay. And so tomorrow, oh, wait a second. Now we've got 46 days. Nope. Tomorrow it looks 47 days into the future. Whenever the day is, it's always looking that number of days into the future. We can do a date range as well. We can only do one of these. Do a date range. So I could pick, hey, today is, I want to set this up. So from August 1st through, oh, let's say the end of the semester, I want to, we'll finish up in December. I'll take student appointments through December 8th, and I can apply that. And it'll give me the date range here. Well, maybe I want to do just indefinitely into the future. I highly, highly do not recommend that, because people will look far out in the future when they have a chance. Students may schedule an appointment for you on May 20th if it's available, even though it is still May 20th of 2024, even though it is still July of 2023. Okay, that is not out of the realm of possibility. Indefinitely into the future does not give you much control. I do not recommend doing it, but if you choose to do it, you're certainly welcome to. Okay, so we have to have a date range. Let's go ahead and leave August 1st to December 8th. Duration. How long do I want my meeting? Okay, this is kind of where we get to some differences when it comes to multiple events, multiple kinds of meetings, length of meeting versus a single event free subscription or free account. Because if I want my appointments to be 30 minutes, no problem. And that's all I'm going to do. Easy peasy, single event, free subscription, free account, no problem. However, if you want to have different kind of events for different type of situations, that's where you're probably going to want to be able to set up in a paid subscription. Okay, but let's set this up for a 30-minute appointment. And how do you want to offer your availability? Well, use existing schedule. Well, you get to define your schedule, okay, and both work. It's easiest to use existing schedule, being confident that your Calendly works, or we could set custom hours. I use existing schedule for regular student appointments. I will use custom hours for math placement testing because I want to be really, really restrictive on those event days and times. You can set up potentially different schedules, but let's take a look and use existing schedule. This is what we have: Central Time, 9 to 5. We can change those. We can override those. Okay. Let's see. I want to add time before or after events. Yep. I want to put a buffer. I want to have at least 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after. Oh, let's say 15 minutes after, just for argument's sake. And I actually, let's decide. I don't want to be available all those dates. I want to set some custom hours within those hours. So for example, I know that I'm going on, I'm just making this up, but I think I'll plan on go on vacation on the 2nd of September, or is it August? I'm trying to think. Oh, yeah, that'll be August. And I want to block that date. All of these dates are showing as open. I just want to mark that and get rid of it. If I get rid of it, no hours available, I apply it. Oh, hey, now I'm unavailable on the 2nd. I can do that on the 3rd too. I can edit it. I can get rid of it. Apply, unavailable, I'm unavailable. Now, what if on Fridays? I'm a faculty member. For argument's sake, I'm not going to be here on Fridays. I don't want to be available on Fridays. I can just edit all Fridays. And I can say, oh, I'm not available, unavailable, apply. All my Fridays just got knocked off my calendar. So not available. So you have that kind of power and authority. You can get into that kind of detail. Okay. This is in addition to Calendly reading your Outlook calendar. So you basically set up a fail safe that's like, oh, hey, I didn't mark that off in Calendly, but I've got it marked off on my Outlook calendar as busy. I should be okay. So I know I've been talking a lot for the last few minutes. I want to take do we have any questions? Because I can't see the chat right now.
I think what I struggled with was linking the two calendars.
Okay. Yep. I can work with you on that. And then if we can't get that figured out, I worked with somebody the other day on that. We got it taken care of. If we can't get it figured out, we'll get Matt involved. And Matt's been really good with this over the years.
Perfect.
So I'm very confident we can get that considered. Okay. So there are additional rules that we can put in here. So for example, we can set our time increments. So what they mean by time increments are when the person is looking to make an appointment with you, what do they see? So do they see appointments available at the top of the hour, at the bottom of the hour? Do they at the top with like 12 o'clock? Do they see at 12:15? Do they see at 12:30? Do they see at 12:45? And then 1 o'clock again, if available? Or is it just 12 o'clock, 12:30, 1 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock, 2:30 type stuff? That can be set up. And I personally like to use 15-minute intervals because that works well with the buffering that I have set up. And we'll see once we open this one up, you'll see the intervals that are available. So scheduling conditions, invitees, hey, they can schedule within so many hours or can't. So this is also your consideration. For most people, I'm going to recommend put the number of hours in here that's between the time you leave and the time you show up in the morning. So if you leave at 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you normally come in at 7 or 7:30, let's see, 4 o'clock, that'd be 8 hours plus another, might want to put 15 hours on here. Unless you're willing to say, oh, hey, yeah, I don't care if we've got 4 hours. I'm willing to say, have a student make an appointment for me at 3 o'clock if they're making the appointment at 10 o'clock in the morning. No, that's not a problem for me. As long as I have time on my calendar, not an issue. That really is a personal preference and how you want to manage that. But that consideration can be put in there. It would not be unreasonable to start at, say, 24 hours. Give yourself even a day or two there, depending upon how quickly you want somebody to, or how far in advance somebody is going to make an appointment for you. You can also set up maximum allowed events per day. So say, yeah, I want students to be able to meet with me 30-minute sessions, 45-minute sessions, whatever you choose. But you know what? I can't really handle more than 4 of those. Even if I have time on my calendar, I can't handle more than 4 of those a day. I can't handle more than 8 of those a day. Not a problem. You can put that in there. So just going to put 7 in there for the heck of it. Time zone, I like to lock it. Then we know exactly what it is and it stays central. Okay. Whereas if we go automatic, then to the invitee, it goes to their time zone. So somebody in California making an appointment with you would see it whatever the time zone is appropriate out there, Pacific time, whether it's Central time, Pacific daylight time. I think it's best to just lock the time zone so everybody sees that it's the time central that you're using. Just makes it easier for everybody. But again, your choice. And then down here, we've got a little extra piece that says secret event. This basically means that if you make it a secret event, only people with the link to the event can get to it to make an appointment. It's not going to be visible on your Calendly homepage. Okay, so I'm just going to go. I'm going to go next here. And I want to double check, make sure this is all still good? Come on. Okay. Yep. Looked like it saved it. Okay. Then invitee questions. You can control what you're asking your invitee. Name, email are defaults. Okay. You're asking which location you want. Please share anything that this is a generic default question. We can add a new question. What assignment will we discuss? Okay. I can turn it on. I can turn it off. Answer type one line. I can put multiple lines. Okay. We can put in radio buttons. Say, hey, what is your favorite color today? What am I doing to spell it wrong? And so we can look at answer type. We can go radio buttons and say, okay, orange, green, and how about tide pool? Whatever. Okay. And we can keep adding more. So you get to control that. What do you want to garner or gather from the person making the appointment? I'm going to save that. Workflows. This is where I haven't applied any of these. Where I have something that looks like workflows, notification and cancellation policy. We can personalize these. We can turn them off. Okay, I'm going to turn on email reminder. I can personalize it. This is the default. You get a default and you can modify that however you want. You can set the time. How many hours do you want a reminder going out? 24 hours. You can, oh, hey, we can add another one. I want one at 48 too. So they're getting 2 of them. Email follow-up. Personalize it. Okay. Hey, here's our basically thanking them for the appointment. In advising, we thank them for coming in. We also add a link to our post-advising survey. Okay. Timing 1 hour after. You could pick this whenever. You can also have no reply email address. So if you don't want them replying directly to you, go ahead and use it. I don't know that text reminders are available for the free accounts. In the paid accounts, we now have text reminders, and we could set that up basic. We can modify the message going out. We can set up the timing. So maybe I want a reminder out 6 hours before. Okay. Confirmation page. So Harsha, I think it was you had mentioned, can a particular message about resources be sent to a student? Yes. So on confirmation, we can actually have the Calendly default confirmation page, or we can redirect to an external site. So maybe maybe the external site is to an online page of resources that you want people to be able to have. So redirect to an external site. We just need to put in the URL.
What if I want to send a resource to the student before they come to meet me?
Oh, okay.
And the other one I wanted to also share with you is some of these customizations are not available to single event. They're only
Correct.
for multiple. So you
Yep.
may have access, but person just having single event won't have it.
Correct. Yep. That's the advantage of having the paid version versus a free version.
So
With
is
the
it a
multiple
possibility
events.
for the faculty to have that?
Yep. Oh, absolutely. I would say first thing to do would be to talk with your dean about it, particularly those who are interested and why you'd want it and so forth. It's very easy to set up on the administrative side to get people invited and have an account created. We do that I'm not saying every month, but we do it several times a year as we have people come into the institution, people leave the institution. Sometimes we're just switching accounts. Somebody leaves, okay, we open up, their account opens up, we use it, we take them off that account, a new person comes in, we put them on that account. particularly if it's a team member changing. So admissions, as people come in and out, okay, so an admissions counselor is no longer here. Well, the new admissions counselor picks up. Or if we added an admissions counselor, we did this the other day. Yep, we add another account on that line. So I think it's $77 a year to have the version, 77 per account for the version that we have paid right now. It doesn't do everything, but it does everything you can see here. There's some things I don't have access to. So we set up these rules. And another consideration, Harsha, and I know this is still a little manual, it's not automated, is that if you want to send out something specific based on the questions, where am I here, that you're asking, we need to set up some of that logic, if we can do that. If you want to send them resources, just respond to them. What I'm thinking is, how do we, on notifications, on the confirmation page, is where we might be able to do that. So let's see, calendar invitation, let's see what we got.
It would be nice if we could, send it as an attachment, because
Right.
The issues that I have faced is sometimes students don't use the NMC account, even though we continuously tell them to use their NMC email, they use their private. So then they're like, I
Right.
didn't receive a email notification that I was supposed to be meeting with you. They're scheduled, but they don't realize that it's going to the NMC email account and not, it doesn't go to their personal account.
Yep. Yeah. Well, and actually it goes, yeah. So yeah, it would go to wherever they put in their email. So when they submit that. So let's take a look at a live page on this one. This is reading my calendar. Okay. So let's go into September. Let's say September 20th, for example. I'm going to open that up. Okay. I've got appointment availabilities all these days. Let's pick 10 o'clock. This is the person making the appointment. And so, I'll use my own. They can actually add a guest. So if they want to have somebody else coming, they can do that. Let's just set it up for a Teams meeting. And okay. And then I can put in here, if I want to put in my phone number for text, basically I can. That's up to the person making the appointment. So if I click schedule event, I'm actually I'm on the student side here now, or for the person making the appointment. And we set the rule up to redirect to the Methodist homepage. So this is why, oh, hey, why did that go to the homepage? Well, we set the rules up on the confirmation page to redirect. So I'm trying to figure out how we would actually be able to send. So Harsha, in your situation, would you want to send every student the same attachment?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, then currently, until we get something worked out with the logic based on questions that they would be providing, then basically you would go in and look at appointments that are coming into your email, because you're going to get a notification. For example, you're going to get a notification in your Outlook that, hey, an appointment has been made for you. You could use that to communicate, oh, hey, this is what the student has. You could also look on your calendar and say, oh, hey, I've got an appointment that's new. I can see what the question, I can open it up. For example, if I can get into my calendar, okay. And that was September 20th. Can you guys see my calendar?
Yes.
Okay. So if I go to September 30th or 20th here, so, yep. So I put this in testing. If I open this up, it will give me, the user, in your case, on the faculty side, all of this information.
Neil, are you showing your Outlook calendar? We are not able to see that.
Oh, you're not able to see that? Okay. Let me. How do I move to that? Let's see. Try something else. So if we go, yeah, let's go to this one. So now can you see my Outlook calendar?
Yes.
Okay, so this Neil Volker testing, and Neil Volker is what I just registered for, made an appointment. So if I open that, then it gives me that information about this appointment, responses. So you could customize your response to this person based on this information. That's not an automated consideration in this setup right now. That's where
that's what I wanted to know.
Yeah, that's where we need to set up some logic as far as, okay, what are they asking for? What would you want to send them, and how are you evaluating what you would send?
Thank you.
Yep. That I can't. I'm getting lost here. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing. Okay, that was very, very quick through that. Most of you who have been using this have kind of figured out this stuff on your own. I haven't had a whole lot of requests lately. Maybe you're working with other people who have been successful using this. I am open to working with people individually. We've done this both face-to-face. We've done it video conference. In fact, for some people, video conference works out very well, because I will have the person share their screen, and I will just walk them through processes, and they're doing it while we're doing it. I just watch them do it and guide them. So what else might people be looking for? It's from a standpoint, it can make things very simple as far as just having students make appointments with us individually. Easy peasy. Once it's set up, it works really smoothly. It's totally automated. There are some additional things, as Harsha was talking about. Oh, hey, I'd like to send resources based on some of their responses. That's much greater depth. And some of you, for example, OT has some opportunities. They take some opportunities, do some group advising, some group events, because they've got them on campus. They have students sign up for those. So they're looking at creating multiple event types. There are other folks that use this that, hey, it's important for me that I have an option at 30 minutes and an hour, because there are a lot of times 30 minutes is not going to do what I want it to do. I need more time with a student. There may be situations where, yeah, if I can set them all up as an hour, but there are going to be some of them that it's not going to take that long. What options do we have? So these are part of the considerations to think, okay, how, from an evaluation of what's it worth to upgrade to a paid account, those are part of those considerations. How much are you going to use it? If you use it a lot for single events on the free account, then you kind of know how busy you're going to be with it, or you have a sense. If you've never used Calendly before, I would highly recommend try starting with a single event free account and see how it works for you.
Neil, did you want to speak to how or where to find that integration piece with?
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's, yeah, great point. Okay, so. Okay, I'm going to share again. I got to get to the right spot. Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. Okay, so we're going back to Calendly here. Yeah, the integration piece. Excellent. So up here at the top, by the way, home and this C, blue and white C over here, it looks like a C to me. Those take you automatically back to your home page. So it takes you out of an individual event. It takes you back to your home page. And it's taken a little while to come back to mine. Okay. And so integrations right up here next to the right of home, upper right. We go on integrations. This is the piece that makes this thing really powerful for us. When we want to integrate here at NMC, the most basic consideration, we want to integrate with the Office 365 calendar. Okay, and basically you just come in, okay, integrations, come down here, Office 365, boom. If that doesn't work after testing, you can let me know. You can also send a help desk ticket to Matt Stockfeld. Typically, I've been able to work with people and we get that up and running. Teams, we usually don't have to worry about that because it's kind of a default setup. We don't have to worry about an Outlook calendar plugin because everybody at the college has a 365 calendar these days. And so Calendly will read that. And that is also part of what your Outlook on your desktop is reading. So there are multiple communications messages going back and forth for that. There are other tools here that you potentially could integrate depending upon what you want to do. So some of these I haven't even looked at for what they just keep adding them. Literally, this used to be like 5 or 6. And now we've got what, 11, 17, 29, 38, 40 some integrations available. So, years ago when we were using WebEx as an organization a while ago, I think, and that may have been very applicable at that time. I know other institutions use Slack. I don't know that we're going down that route. And so some of these aren't going to particularly be important to us, but Office 365 is that big one to get it integrated to your calendar.
Yeah, and one important caveat with that, when I first set up my Calendly, I tried to also connect my Apple calendar to it. It will only allow you one calendar that you can link to. If you try to link to multiple calendars, it does not work, and that is with the paid version even.
So yeah, so that really comes down to, what calendar do you want it linking to? So I think for most of us, it's going to be our Outlook calendar.
Oh yes, that's the one I chose. Okay, any other questions out there?
This should be very helpful. Thank you.
Right, yes, absolutely. Thank you, Neil. It doesn't look like there's any other questions officially, nothing in the chat. No one speaking up. So Neil, thank you so much for your presentation and working with us today. And as Neil said, you can reach out to him. You can reach out to myself or Mark, and we would certainly be willing to work with you guys as well and get you started on Calendly if you haven't already done so. If there's nothing else, again, thank you, Neil, and thank you, everyone. We'll have the recording up in a few minutes for you guys to go back and take a look at everything that Neil showed us. All right, have a great day, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Neil.
Yep. Have a good day.
You too.